Hey, it's Cobra here at MaddenGuides.com, and for this Madden 22 defensive tips video breakdown, I'm going to show you a three-part series of three quarter normal defenses to mix in with the other defensive blitzes that I've shown out of the quarter normal. So what I want to do is I want to get to the very first defense here, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the play art and the play info. And so the very first defense we're going to talk about for this particular video breakdown is going to be this particular play right here, which is called the 3 double buzz. And what this defense does, it features 3 deep defenders, but the key one in this is the middle linebacker or the linebacker who drops over to deep middle. So obviously it's the formations, the quarter normal, the personnel groupings, 3 defensive linemen, 1 linebacker, 7 defensive backs. The coverage type is zone. The coverage shell is cover 3. The blitz type is a zone blitz. The gap pressure C. The pass rushers, you got 4, and then you've got 7 pass defenders dropping back in pass coverage. All right, let's go ahead and get right on into it and just go ahead and show you how to run this defense. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and feature what in my opinion, one of the most popular plays, as we all know, is going to be this verticals play out of the gun bunch. We're going to go ahead and show the Bills verts. Now, the Bills vert's a little different than some of the other ones you'll see. Mainly the running back, as you look at your screen, actually kind of breaks out towards the right sideline. But in some of the other ones, he runs delayed or whatever he runs. So it's a little bit different, but it's still the same idea. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and run this play without making any adjustments at all. I'm going to go ahead and switch off to another defender here. I'll switch off to the nose tackle. And I just want to show you that at least initially, this defense doesn't do a very good job against, there's a couple holes in it. Now, I also want to point out, there's no one defense that covers every single pass route in the game. There's always, that's what passing concepts are all about. They're designed to attack and find at least an open receiver. It's just a matter of the quarterback makes the right read or not in most cases. So in this case, this guy's wide open, running back coming out of the backfield. Obviously, he's going to be open. We don't got anybody in the cover in the flat. So that's the first option that well, that's not really the first option you would throw to. But if he didn't have anybody open deep, that's who he would look to throw to. Another option is going to be wide open almost every single time against this particular defense, unless you make an adjustment, which we're going to do, is going to be that tight end. He's going to be open. The other thing he might want to do is he might want to throw it up here real quick to this running back, or not running back, but to the receiver running the outside vertical route as he breaks to the outside. So there's definitely some options to throw to against this particular coverage that doesn't do a very good job at defending it. And then the other one, I'll tell you right now, the other 2 options, though, to the left, as you watch, the inside slot receiver running that deep crosser, he's pretty covered. I mean, it's going to be very hard to make that throw such as there. And I'll show you the other guy too. Obviously on the outside, let's go ahead and just throw it to the outside. It should be pretty covered as well to the left. Even if that receiver is pretty fast, this defense should hold up against this for the most part. All right, for the most part, he should hold up against it. Now, I'm not taking control of anybody as far as on the defensive side. I'm just showing. So you know you got 2 receivers pretty covered against this. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with this defense to take away some of the other options. So this defender here, I want to go ahead and show him to you. This is going to be one of the, I believe he's a safety. What I like to do with him, this is Sorensen, what I like to do with him or whatever team I'm playing with, especially against the gun bunch formation, I like to call him a flex defender. Not even just so much the bunch formation, any formation. This guy doesn't necessarily need to blitz. And so I'm not going to blitz him. I'm going to put him in some type of coverage. Depending on what my opponent comes out, it's going to determine what I put him in. So this guy right here, the threat that I have with him, with this particular formation, a lot of times is this tight end. So I'm going to go ahead and man him up in man coverage on that tight end. All right. Now, the next thing I want to do, at least for me, now I'm going to show you guys some stuff here in a second. I've kind of done one thing earlier that I didn't show you guys, and I'll talk about that here in just a minute. This guy right here, which is Jones, depending on where I put him at. Now, normally he starts out, unless you go ahead and do what I just did and use the package, and we're going to talk about that in just a second, he normally lines up on the left end. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and reset this so we can see this, and then we'll talk about some more stuff in the breakdown that's going to kind of show you what I wanted to show with that. So let's get out of these defensive end swap. We're going to go back in that in just a bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into just the normal default package. So let's go back into the formation. Again, we're back into the 3 double buzz, and then we're going to run this against that verticals play, which I was talking about earlier as far as on the offensive side of the ball. All right, let's go ahead and set this up. This guy right here, Whoever's playing down in that box is the guy that you want to line up across from the tight end. You want to put him in man coverage. Now this time it's switched. Now we got a different defender playing him. But regardless, you want to go ahead and put him in man coverage on the tight end, at least against the bunch formation. Now, the next thing I like to do is, I don't know what side this running back's going to run. As I talked about earlier, this running back could be running an out route this way. I mean, for all I know, maybe they hot routed him on a swing route. Maybe they've got him running some delay coming out of the backfield where he curls up. You know, there's a lot of different things you could do. In this case, he's just running this, route towards the right. But a lot of times what I like to do is I like to go ahead and put this guy, because if I'm not manually going to use him and rush him, then I'm going to put him in some type of coverage. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and put him in the flat. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and put him in a hard flat. Now you can put him in a vertical hook. You can do whatever you want with him. It's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and put him in a flat for now. All right. Now, the other guy, which is this guy right here, this is Jones. I'm going to go ahead and do what I've been showing in the breakdowns, and I'm going to manually rush him. Remember, I'm putting him on a flat as well. So my thing here is I'm just trying to get pressure on the quarterback as fast as I can, such as what I just showed you there. Now, as you look at this, and I know what you guys are thinking, well, that running back's still wide open. That is correct. And the reason he is because I didn't guess right. So I've got this guy going out towards the flat over here. Unfortunately, the running back is going this direction. He has him wide open. But if you look at everything else out there, if you look at the tight end, I'm going to do this in a second. Let's go ahead and zoom in. This tight end, he's covered. And I can tell you right now, he's not going to throw the ball to the outside. At this point, it's too late. That receiver on the outside's covered. The receiver over here, if you look at your screen, this other receiver on the outside's covered as well. So he doesn't have him open. I can tell you this guy's not open. This guy's not open. And then that outside receiver on the other side on the right can't see him on your screen now, but he's not open. The only guy that he has open right now for him to throw to is going to be that running back. And that's only because I guessed wrong. So say you're playing an opponent who likes to throw the running back. You think you got everything covered. This guy's been running this play on you all day, and you're getting a lot of yardage against you. So what you can do is you could put this guy in the flat, and then this guy, you can manually rush him. Now, this is what the key is, and this is what I was talking about, substitutions in the packages. Watch what happens here with this guy, with Clark. Clark doesn't always get, a lot of times Clark gets blocked. He doesn't get that animation where the tackle is reach blocking. You don't get that with this guy, on this particular guy against this particular left tackle. For some reason, the left tackle blocks him pretty consistently. Let's go ahead and run it again. And I just get that. Now, I might be able to get off of him, but I'm not getting the animation that I'm looking for. So what you can do, and I suggest you guys play in connected franchise leagues, you play online, whatnot, I suggest you guys get into the practice mode before you play your opponent and see what you got. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and go into the packages here, and we're going to go ahead and select the DE swap this time. And this time, I'm going to show you what will happen here. So let's go into gun verts and go into that same formation I've been running and same play on the defensive side of the ball. Now this time Jones is lined up to the left side of your screen right there. And now I'm going to go ahead and set this up. Now this time, because my opponent's been running that route to the right, constantly killing me with that running back, I'm going to try to switch things up. I'm going to go ahead and put him in the flat there. This guy I'm going to move over here. I'm still going to do my little tied in thing, cover my tied in right there, and then I can do this. There's the setup. Now let's see what happens. And now this time I get in there and I'm able to get to the quarterback and I get that reach block animation that I'm looking for. And now let's look what happens on the defensive side of the ball and see what we've got as far as the coverages look like. As you look at it, everybody's covered. There's nothing there for my opponent to throw to this time. So we've got this guy covered, this guy's covered, this guy's covered. We work our way over here. This guy's covered, this guy's covered. So all five of those guys are covered. My opponent does not have anybody to throw to. The only thing he can do at this point is try to take off with the quarterback and try to pick up some yardage. That's the only thing he can do. So I just locked that down because I was able to guess right. Now, let me go back over here. And I'm going to show this next to you. Let me just throw this ball away real quick. Let me show you this next thing I want to show here. So with this, say that our opponent is running another one where he has this guy running an out route. So he's having the tight end run an out, not tight end, but the running back running a out route towards the left this time. So he's running this direction here, right? So let's go ahead and show you this. And I want to talk about this. I'm going to go ahead and shift this defensive line down, and then I'm going to put him in a flat. And remember this guy earlier, this is Clark. Remember we couldn't get any pressure with him against the left tackle? This is why I suggest you go into practice mode and see what you can get and see what guys can get by the tackles. Now let's see what happens this time by flip-flopping these guys and see what happens here. I'm going to go ahead and put him in man coverage on the tight end. And I'm going to do this. Now watch what happens this time. Oops, let me slide that in there. I'm trying to use two different controllers again like I usually do, and it's kind of screwing me up a little bit as far as trying to snap the ball here. Let me try this here. Oh, same thing. Sorry about this guy. I'm really trying to make this work for me. For some reason, I can't get this. My controller stuck for some reason. Hold on a second here. Let me reset the play here. All right. Let's see what happens this time. Sorry about that, guys. Sometimes when you're trying to do two controllers at once, it doesn't make it always easiest. I literally got one on my belly and one in my hand. All right, that don't sound very good. But at any rate, there's the animation right there that I was talking about earlier. So I'm able to get by that right tackle by simply just making that adjustment where I flip-flop this guy over. So now Jones lines up matched up against the right tackle versus the left tackle where I wasn't getting that pressure. So that's the thing I wanted to show there with this. Let's do this. Let's go back in here and put this guy in man coverage on this guy. Again, we're going to put this guy in the flat. We're going to go ahead and snap it. And if you don't make the right, if you don't make the right decision, then that running back could be open. So that's what I'm trying to show to you. Depending on what you do on the defensive side of the ball is going to determine if you guys have that running back countered or not. And that's really the main thing I wanted to focus in on here. So let's run this one more time. And I'm going to go ahead and put him in man coverage. I am going to hot route the running back on this route right there, on that out route. I'm going to go ahead and put this guy in the flat. So this is what I showed earlier. This guy in the flat as well. And let's just see what happens this time. Didn't even have to get the animation. I got right around that guy real quick without even that happening. So if you look at it, you're going to find that guy's covered. And he doesn't really have an option to throw to here. So if we look at it, let's just go ahead and look at this real quick. If you look at it on his screen here, the guy's covered, this guy's covered, this guy's covered. Let's go and clear it. This guy is covered over here as well, and then that guy's covered. So everybody's covered if you guess right against the running back. Now, even if you didn't guess against the running back, it's not like they're going to have a super big play. They might pick up 5-10 yards, but at least they're not going to get a big play deep down the field. Now, I want to show one last thing with this. If you run this defense, if you look at the linebacker here, he's lined up here in the middle. And he's playing that deep middle coverage. Now, sometimes he may end up going to play where he moves up here on your screen. He's not down in the gap. So one of the things you can do is you can go ahead and just do this way, which is go ahead, what I've been showing is go ahead and shift the defensive line. Now, the problem with that, or not shift the defense line, but shift the defense where they pinch. The problem with that is you put this corner and this corner in press coverage, even though they're not really pressing. And the downside of doing this is, I'm just going to go ahead and run this, is that if they're outside of the 25-yard, so there's like, say, 25-yard line on your 25, you can get away with this. But if they're outside the 25 of that, say they're at your 45, say they're somewhere down in this area here, and you try to do this, then there's potentially a chance of you getting burnt deep. And I want to show that to you by that outside receiver. And that's why you've got to really be careful when you press this, because you may end up getting beat deep on this. And I'm going to go ahead and run this again, same thing. And see, that's the downside of doing that. So you got to be careful, because if they got a burner on the outside and you decide to do this, then you're going to get burnt. So what I would suggest is, depending on where the ball's located, will determine on how you go about this. If you want to go ahead and manually pass rush. So I would say, I would go ahead and shift the defensive line like this. So you're pressing on the left D-pad and pressing down on the left stick. The only bad thing about that, it brings this linebacker. Sometimes it'll move this linebacker back, and other times it won't. But if it does, you can always move them up manually if you want, and then just go through the rest of your setup as far as if you got time to do all this. That's the downside of this. So if you decide, the reason you do this is because this guy right now, he won't get past that defensive back on the outside. Like, for example, here, I'll go ahead and run it. And I guarantee you, if you're manually pass rushing, you should have enough time to get there anyways. But now you got a lot better coverage. That's the reason you don't want to do press coverage against a fast burner on the outside. If you decide to shift the defense down and pinch, because you're going to take a chance of getting beat deep. So just keep that in mind when you run this. All right, guys, that's it for this video breakdown. Hope it's something you guys can run as far as the defense from the quarter normal. That'll take away some different things. Like I said, the one defender that's blitzing, that defensive back that's blitzing the safety, use him as a flex defender. You do not have to have him rush the quarterback. I'd put him in some type of coverage. Rather, hell, man, if they're not in a gun bunch and they got a fast quarterback, put him in QB spy. I mean, then that way you can take away the quarterback from taking off and running. Anyway, this is the first of 3 defenses that I want to show from the quarter normal. And I also want to keep this in mind. This is not, by any stretch of the imagination, the best defensive formation in the game. It's not even close, but it's one I wanted to start off with when I was doing this series. And this is really going to finish up the series. I'm going to do 2 more breakdowns of this, and then we're going to move on to something else. We're going to do 2 other zone, or 1 more man and 1 more zone defense that you guys can run for coverages. And it's going to kind of the same idea. So at any rate, again, this is defensive tips here for Madden 22. Just showing you guys the 3-quarter normal defenses to mix in. This is the first of 3 of them.